So what's the big deal about charts and graphs anyway? Oh, friend, am I glad you asked. Luckily for you, I just put this presentation together called What's the Big Deal About Charts and Graphs Anyway? Give me a few minutes and you'll get some good insights. First up, we're going to do a quick exercise. In 10 seconds, I'm going to flash up a 10 by 10 grid and you're going to count how many pale you see on that grid. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay, time's up. How many did you count? So that's tough, right? And you probably don't feel all that confident in your number. So let's try a few things to show how data visualization can help you come to a quick, accurate, and complete insight. First change we're going to make is we're going to use a little bit of color and highlight all the pale. So let me give you 10 seconds again. So that color helps a lot, right? Pretty subtle change, but it really probably makes you feel much more confident in your analysis. And if you said 12 on the first slide, that's pretty good. You must be some sort of whiz, so help yourself to a beer. What if we're still mainly interested in pale, but we want to better understand how that relates to some of the other beers in the categories? We can leave pale highlighted, and now let's group the others together from most to least. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's interesting and helpful for a little bit more understanding. What are some of the insights? We can see that pale is towards the top of the list, and West Coast IPA is the most, and brown down in the lower right has the least number of counts. But it's hard to get too many other quick insights. So let's do a little bit more data visualization outside of just color and location and see what we can find. So let's just pull this into a basic bar graph. We can now see how each beer relates to each other and get a more accurate score for each. So that's quite a bit more precise for the insights we were trying to get to. But what if I asked how pale ranks amongst the group, or what is the 7th largest beer? We can do better. So let's just take our basic bar graph, leave it in kind of the same format, but now we're just going to sort it from largest to smallest. So this is much better to see how they each relate to each other. So now we can answer some of those questions from our last slide. We can count that pale now ranks 3rd amongst the rest of the group. And if we counted down even further till we found cold IPA, we'd see that that ranks 7th. Let's try one more thing to make this bar graph even more insightful. So now, what if we took our bar chart to the absolute limit of what bar charts can do and include the specific rank and total next to each beer and highlight pale specifically to make sure it's very visible on the screen? So now there's really no possible misunderstanding on the beers in our example. So it works great for pale because we've highlighted that. But what if we wanted to see some more insights, such as what percent of the total is it? How does it rank amongst other beers in the ale group? And even if we got all that calculated out for pale, what if we wanted to quickly see all that info for other beers too? Let me show you a good option for that. So I just switched to a modern analytics dashboard, and this is using Tableau. So we just loaded all the same information that was on that initial 10 by 10 grid, and look at all the insights we can get on here. We see the number of different beers listed, the beer groups we had. You can see there's 100 total. Each one averaged about 10. The highest number of beers was 14, and the minimum was 6. Now we can get some specific insights on the beers that we're interested in. Right now, I'm filtered on that pale. So we see pale is ranked number 3 amongst all beers. We see that it also makes up 12% of the total of all beers. If you scan your eyes down to this lower left bar chart, now we can see how pale stands out amongst all of its peers. So let's see how pale ranks within its group. So over here on the right-hand side, we see that pale is ranked number 2 in the ale group. And the ale group we see on the very bottom is the highest or the largest group we have amongst all of our beers. And pale makes up 21% of that. So pretty insightful, right? We can really deep dive and see what's going on. And then with just a few simple clicks, let's highlight a few more beers. So if we wanted to see where brown ranks, we see that's actually our lowest ranking of all of our beers. It only makes up 6% of the total. Let's see another one that's much larger. If we clicked on Pilsner, now we'd see that ranks number 2, and it's the number 1 in the light beer. So by bringing everything into this modern analytics dashboard and using data visualization, we can get to a lot of those really quick and precise insights. So congrats, we actually just did some science and displayed pre-attentive attributes. I won't bore you with all of the details here. Just know that over time, our brains evolve to pick up on patterns and colors almost instantaneously versus the attention and focus we must give when doing other purposeful analysis. On the screen, I have displayed what the different pre-attentive attributes are. And as you scan through these, think back through some of our examples, and you'll recognize that we used color to highlight certain things. We use the length in a bar chart to measure different beers against each other. In one case, we enlarged the size of a bar for pale to really draw attention to it. And we also grouped different individual data points together. So good job on that science. I hope that pre-attentive attributes make a little bit more sense now, and one of the reasons why data visualization is so effective. So to sum this all back up, after applying some data visualization principles of color, length, location, description, and also bringing it into a fully interactive dashboard in modern analytics platform, we've evolved from the basic data table on the left, which, as you remember, it was very hard to get specific insights from, to the insightful dashboard on the right, which really, with just a quick glance of information, you can draw some meaningful insights from. So that's pretty cool, right? And the whole point of this is to make the processing of data quick and easy so you can spend more time and brain power on the actual decision-making and future actions you're going to take from this data. So I hope that was interesting. And thinking back to the initial question, what's the big data with charts and graphs anyway? Really, the point is to be able to consume large amounts of data and be able to distill it down into insights where you can quickly and confidently action in order to improve your business performance. So if you have any questions on this, or you'd like to talk about anything else related to data analytics, please drop me an email. That email is jeremy@centralcoast-analytics.com. Again, that email is jeremy@centralcoast-analytics.com. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.